Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. We are in the book of Numbers right now, and we're taking 2 days to look at chapter 30. And that has to do with keeping your word, really, and keeping your word regarding vows and oaths. In yesterday's episode, we talked about that, and it was just really short and if we just simply do those things, our life would be a whole lot easier. Today, we're looking at some ramifications, though, of a woman. It having to do with if you're a woman, there's some exceptions, you might say, about keeping your word there. So anyway, I let me jump right in here, and today it's entitled "Protecting Your Bride," and this is taken from Numbers chapter 30, verses 3 through 16. All right, it says this: when a young woman still living in her father's household makes a vow to the Lord, or obligates herself by a pledge, and her father hears about her vow or pledge, but says nothing to her, then all her vows and every pledge by which she obligates herself will stand. But if her father forbids her, when he hears about it, none of her vows or the pledges by which she obligates herself will stand. The Lord will release her because her father has forbidden her. Okay? So, let me stop you there for a moment. Let me stop myself for a moment. This first part has to do if you have a daughter and she's not married yet. Okay? She's still under your roof. Okay? So I have several daughters, and they're still under my roof, actually. So if I see they make a promise, in this, if I'm following this teaching here, if I see they make a promise and I know they can't keep that, then I can say no, that's not, you can't say that, and it's null and void. Okay, but if I just let it go, then it stands. So I'll give you an example. Like, let's say we had a little Grace here with us, and she was really a member of our family. So if she would have come up to me and said, "Hey, Daddy, I want to give this to Mommy," and I told Mommy she could have this, and it's like the keys to my car or my truck or something like that, I'm going, no, I don't think so. You're not going to give my truck away because Mom already has a car. So you're not giving my truck away. Okay. Well, she's innocent and doesn't know any better, and she's just like giving everything away to everybody. Okay. And I have the right to say, no, you're not making a wise decision because you're still pretty young, and I can let that go. But, I can also notice that she made a cake for Myrna, and she's like, I want to serve this to Myrna. I'm like, well, that's fine. Go ahead and make that cake and serve it to Myrna. And if I let it go, it's good. So that's having to deal with unmarried daughters living with you. I have older daughters now, and so a lot of stuff they say, if I'm following this, I just let go. They go, hey, you know what? I want to, do this to my car. I want to get 4 new tires on my car, and I signed a contract to get 4 new tires on my car. Okay, I look it over, and I let it go because they've made that decision. They've shopped around, and they're committed to it, and it's a good choice they've made. Let's move on here. Verse 6, if she marries after she makes a vow, and after her lips utter a rash promise by which she obligates herself, and her husband hears about it but says nothing to her, then her vows or the pledges by which she obligates herself will stand. But if her husband forbids her when he hears about it, he nullifies the vow that obligates her and the rash promise by which she obligates herself, and the Lord will release her. Any vow or obligation taken by a widow or divorced woman will be binding on her. Okay? So again, if you get married, the husband can go, no, you can't do that. A door-to-door salesman comes up and says, hey, I got in the back of my truck, I got 200 steaks, and I want to sell them to you right now, and you can have them for $2,000. And my wife goes, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds good. I like steak. And I come home, I'm like, oh no, we don't need that much steak. And so I have the right to say nope, or I can say, oh, that's a good choice you made, and go with it. So as you look at this, you see it's not about the woman being put down, it's about men protecting the woman. You have to look at it in those eyes. The father protecting their daughters, and then the husband protecting his wife. Okay? Verse 10, if a woman living with her husband makes a vow or obligates herself by pledge under oath, and her husband hears about it but says nothing to her and does not forbid her, then all her vows and pledges by which she obligates herself will stand. But if her husband nullifies them when he hears about them, then none of the vows or pledges that came from the vows or pledges of her lips will stand. Her husband has nullified them, and the Lord will release her. Her husband may confirm or nullify any vow she makes, or any sworn pledge to deny herself. But if her husband says nothing to her about it from day to day, then he confirms all her vows or pledges binding on her. He confirms them by saying nothing to her when he hears about them. If, however, he nullifies them sometime after he hears about them, then he must bear the consequences of her wrongdoing. These are the regulations the Lord gave Moses concerning the relationships between a man and his wife, and between the father and his young daughter still living at home. Now, you have to look at it here as a woman is being protected by her husband, okay? We have laws like this today, that a minor can't just go signing their life away or making signing a contract unless the parent is there and signs with them. Okay, they just can't do that, and so we kind of have laws similar to this today. Back when I was like in junior high or high school, I had a friend of mine, and back when we were in junior high and high school, they had these flyers that would come in the mail or in the magazine or newspaper, and it would be like buy 30 albums for $1 and get 10 free or something like that, something really, really crazy. And I went over there one day, and all of a sudden my friend, he has like 30 albums. I'm like, what? Why? Where'd you get all this? And back then albums were like, say, $8 or $9 or whatever. And I'm like, and he said, well, I joined a record club. And so, and the deal was you had to then buy. They would send you a record, and then you'd have to buy it every other time or something like that. You had to buy so many within the year, okay? And so anyway, he had, and we were listening to all this. It was, Bruce Springsteen in the cars and stuff like that. We were listening to all these albums. And one day I got there, and I was like, hey, where'd all the music go? He said, we had to send it back. I'm like, oh, really? Why is that? He said, well, because my dad, it's really kind of a scam. And the thing is, they keep sending you albums, and you've got to buy them. Well, the dad stepped in, and he says, you made an agreement with a minor. And they're like, oh, we made an agreement with a minor? Well, then you need to send all those albums back. And so his dad said, okay, let's gather up all these albums and send them back. So he was able, and it was a legal thing, the minor couldn't make an agreement like that, couldn't sign a contract. But the father stepped in and said, they can't sign a contract. And so that made that null and void. All right. This also, you have to look at also as the bride of Christ is who? Anyone know? It's the church, okay? And just like the father and the husband is protecting his wife, in the same way, we, the church, are protected and cared for by Jesus, God. And so it's the same way. And the church will make stupid decisions, okay? And we make stupid decisions, we make rash decisions, but our God is there to protect us and to guide us and walk with us through that. And so this is a picture of Christ caring for his church. So anyway, that's all I have to say on that. And this is taken from Numbers 30 about vows. Thank you for watching. I am a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue our journey through the book of Numbers. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then.